Okay, good morning. So we're up to the end of Siman Reish Yud Aleph. So this is the end of the last sif of Reish Yud Aleph, where we discussed the halachas of Kadima Brachos Aperes, of the priority, the precedence of various brachos. So we're now finishing off, and then the Mishnah Berurah is going to give a little summary of a sort of a conclusion. So let's do the Mechaba first. Hoyelefon of Tavshil, a person has in front of him a cooked dish, mikemach, from flour of kusmin, which is spelt v'shiboiles shual, oats, v'shifon and rye, v'gefen ute'ena v'rimon, and he also has in it there's gefen, there's grapes and te'ena and figs and rimon, pomegranates, and therefore the question really is this: what bracha do you make on it? Because on one hand you've got the shivas haminim, on the other hand you've got mazonis, but the mazonis you have is not chita asoira, which is in the pasuk. You've got the three other of the 5 grains. You've got kusmin spelt, shibol shul, which is oats, and shifon is rye. So says the Mechaba, given the mevarech ala tavshil boirei minei mazonos. At the end of the day, flour from these 3 other seeds are mazonos. Since you make a minei mazonos, brachos kodemes, and therefore the bracha is minei mazonos. In other words, you've got in front of you some sort of tafshil, some sort of dish made from flour from the 3 other, let's call them inferior mazonos brachas, and you've got other things. You've got gefen, te'ena, v'rimon. Which comes first? The answer is the mazonos comes first, even though they're not part of the shivas haminim, and really chitim and so'irim has the priority over the other 3. So you over a spelt biscuit, you would make the mazonos first before you have some grapes and things like that. Afal gav dahanach min shiva, even though the other things are min shiva, v'iyu lav min shiva, and these 3, the kemach from kusmin, shibol shul, and shifon are not part of the shivas haminim. Mikol makom given the chashivi, the avdi minayu pas, since they have a chashivas. What is their chashivas? That you could make bread from them. Mavarech alav hamoitzi or berachas hamazon. You could make bread out of the kemach from these 3 things, and make hamoitzi and make berachas hamazon. Therefore, kodemes afal gav dorei avdi pas, and therefore the bracha on these 3 things, the mazonos bracha, will come before the gefen, te'ena, v'rimon, which are proper shivas haminim. Okay, says the Mishnah Berurah in Lamed Dalet, v'iyu lav min shiva, afagav the kusmin min chitin, even though kusmin, the spelt is a type of chitin, v'shibol shifon min so'irin, and shibol shul v'shifon, and oats and rye are also parts. They're from so'irim. Mikol makom given the this karin behedja bekra, since they're not mentioned mefurish in the pasuk of Eretz chita v'so'ira, therefore ein bohem chashivas min shiva. They haven't got the chashivas of one of the shivas haminim. Kol kach k'mav mefurish behedja bekra. Okay, and therefore the rule is that even though they're not part of the shivas haminim, you still make a bar minei mazonos on them before you would have grapes and figs and pomegranates, etc. Because you could make bread out of them, and they could have a bracha of hamoitzi, and you could bench berachas hamazon on them. It says in Mishnah Berurah Lamed Hey, "V'gam heim bichlal chita v'so'ira dekra al kol ponim." Because l'maisa they're included in chitim and so'irim, and therefore you make a bracha of hamoitzi if you were to make bread out of it. So chita v'so'ira koidmin the gefen v'te'ena v'rimon, because for sure chita v'so'ira comes before te'ena v'rimon. Because Amogan Avram, the dafka hani de chashivi kan, dafka these. Avol zeisim im tavshil shibol shul. If you've got a case of zeisim, the Mechaba mentions gefen, te'ena v'rimon, but zeisim on the other hand, not, says the Mogan Avram. Because zeisim koidim mishum de makdimin bikra. Because remember, eretz zeis shemen udvash. Zeis shemen is one away, is the closest to the word eretz, and chita and so'ira is also one away. So since kusmin and shifon and shibol shul are not the same chashivas of chita, therefore the Magen Avraham says zayis will actually come before it. Now here comes the summary and the conclusion of the Mishnah Berurah to this whole siman. Now I'm going to just I'm now going to tell you just in short a summary conclusion of this whole topic. Anything which is later in the pasuk is considered worse. Here we go. Hamoitzi Va'afilu mepashal shibolish shufain. Hamoitzi comes first, even if it's bread made from shibolish shual and shifain from oats and from rye. Okay, I've lost the place. Hamoitzi, afilu, it comes first. Berim and mezonos is next. Al maisa kedera de chitim. And if it's made, which type of mezonos? If you're going to differentiate between types of mezonos, the one of chitim comes first. Then berim and mezonos shal maisa kedera de sa'irim. That's next. Then berim and mezonos al maisa kedera de shibol shul v'shifain. Shel gamkin min sa'irim, because they're also a type of sa'irim. Or berim and mezonos de sa'irim, kiven de sa'irim afurish bekra kaidim lohen. That's why it comes before the mezonos of shibol shul and shifain. Va'afilu kusmin shu min chitim hu gamkin kaidim, i.e. a mezonos on sa'urim, on barley, and barley products will come before the bracha of mezonos on kusmin, even though kusmin is a type of chitim which comes before sa'urim. At the end of the day, kusmin is not mentioned mefurish in the pasuk. Beipra gefen, that comes next. Then zaysim, olives, tamarim, dates, anovim, grapes, te'ena, figs, rima, pomegranates. That's the order. So again, and then beipra eitz, and beipra adama, and then shahakol. So that's the order. You have moitzi, and then mezonos. Within the mezonos world, you have mezonos on chitin and sa'irin, and then the other grains, and then beipra gefen, and then berpri, and then the shivas haminim and berpri eitz. The order of shivas haminim will be zaysim tamarim, anovim te'ena v'rimain. Then your berpri adama, the berpri eitz of other fruits, and then berpri adama, then shahakol. Now. In everything we've said so far, we're not worried about choviv. Right? This goes back to the very beginning of the siman. For example, he's got a nice bit of chocolate, and so if you're sitting there and you've got a banana and you've got a piece of chocolate, the banana comes first because Ber Priadoma comes before the shahakol, even though you like your chaviv this shahakol. What if you got a clash of Ber Priadoma and Ber Priadoma? Sorry, Lamadalef. As linon, we go bosa hechaviv afilu hasheni min shiva. So if you've got a Ber Priadoma and a Ber Priadoma, the Beirei, whatever is chaviv to you will come first, even if it's over Shivas HaMinim. So for example, you've got some grapes and you've got a banana, so then if really the Ber Priadoma should come first, that's what we've said so far. However, if you have, one of them is chaviv and you really fancy a banana, or a melon, which is a Ber Priadoma, then that will have kedima over the Ber Priadoma, even if it's one of the Shivas HaMinim. Hayu shneim chaviv, and if they're both equally desired, ozdin and bossa min shiva, then the fact that it's min shiva takes priority. V'im echad mehen mugdam pasuk kagayin shekaises kloyes chita the Brachos of Ber Priadoma. If you're sort of chewing a bit of oats, which are Ber Priadoma, with raw oats, va'eichel zayis, and you're also eating an olive, yakdim chita to kaidim bekra. The chita comes earlier in the pasuk before the zayis. Kein kosam magen avram va'agra palig al zeh. And the Gra argues with Commissioner Kosavnu Le'el B'Sif Kotzen Chavzayin Ayin Sham. Now, Shnehem Einon Min Shiva. If both of them are not Min Shiva, so you've got two, let's say Ber Priadoma. Yesh Lahagdim Priadoma Im Shavim B'Chavivas. Then the Ber Priadoma comes before the Ber Priadoma. For example, you've got an apple and a banana, and they're both equally desirable to you. So then the Ber Priadoma comes beforehand if they're both equally desirable. Halav Hachi Chaviv Kedem. And if not the case, then Chaviv comes first. V'chanal. V'chein shnei and Ber Priadoma. And so too, if you've got two Ber Priadomas, you've got melon and pineapple. They're both equally chaviv. So then obviously, well, there's no difference. If one is more chaviv, then that you go for that one. Or shneim shahakol. If you've got two shahakos in front of you, ozdin and basa chaviv, you go after chaviv. If you look at 32, he says that omnom im echod mehem sholem ve'echod eina sholem, then the sholem is odif. So in other words, you've got things which you go boss. Let's say, for example, you've got, I don't know, pineapple and melon, right? So then the one which is more chaviv comes first. If, however, one is sholem, then the sholem would trump. Okay, and then if hine matnikra chaviv, and then he just finishes off and he says what is called chaviv. Anu bnei Ashkenaz nimshachin achar Rosh v'siyata. We follow the Rosh, and those are the others who follow the school of thought of the Rosh. Shehu amin harogel yoschav v'etzloi. Kamesh kosef b'sif aleph. Remember, we had two machlekes in the beginning of the sif, in the beginning of the simon, and this was one of the machlekes. How do you define chaviv? The Rosh says chaviv is not what you fancy now, but what is normally preferable to you. What is rogel elios chaviv? V'im shneim chaviv me'etzloi. They're both chaviv. So then you go what you fancy now more. Okay. The birchas of achila v'shtia, afilu birchas shehakol kedemes lebirchas hareach. When it comes to brachos of achila and shtia, then afilu birchas shehakol comes before the bracha of the reach. Why is that? So in 34 he explains because the time is because it's that the achila and shtia is nichnas leguf. Masha'in came the reach, and therefore that the bracha made on food and drink comes before bracha on reach. Just a couple of interesting ha'aras. Let's just do 30. Okay, let's do quickly 30 and 33. 30. What about rice? Rice is quite an interesting one. So in 30 he says in kedimas oirez kosav prima godim. It's mashma from our mechab over here that the bracha mezon is only choshev because you could make bread out of it, but rice you can't make bread out of it. And etc. etc. However, if you look towards the end of this paragraph, he says, however, noise a cause of sha'af she'in oisim me'eres pas she'mevarchen of ha'moitzi mikol makom ha'el mevarchen burning mezonos she'bracha chashuva yosim me'berachas burning priagofen yesh lahakdim mevarich olav v'chein kosav b'levush. That's very interesting. So even though you can't make bread out of rice, if you've got let's say a meal, you're sitting down supper tonight, and you've got some rice, and you've got some meat and some vegetables, and you've got a glass of wine. So the halacha would be that the berbenei mezonos, according to this, the second opinion over here, would come first. Then you would make a ber gefen, and then you would make the ber adom on the vegetable, and then you make shehakol on the meat. Yeah. So according to and this seems to be I think that's from my experience, that seems to be the minhag we follow this.
Or wash.
Yeah. Okay. If you wash, then there's no shaila.
And then if you have this one, and then make a bracha.
Right. The hamotzi comes before the hagofen. No, you make hamotzi, and then you make a ber gefen.
That's right, hamotzi comes before.
Yeah.
Unlike Shabbos.
Yeah, Shabbos. That's because of a separate reason. Yeah. But tonight, Thursday night. Yeah. Okay, let's just do quickly 33. What about you've got food and drink, which comes before drinking or eating? So right? How does that work? Because he just puts them together. And therefore the mashmos of the Mishnah Berurah is eating and drinking has no kedima. Shemerkachas kedemes liyain straf rak mishum shebrichos berpei adoma v'lo mishum shemaichel v'chein mefurish b'prima godim etc. v'chein haragon b'vozna. The Orach HaShulchan calls him shachila kedemes, however, but the Orach HaShulchan says differently to the Mishnah Berurah, and food will come before drink. Even if the drink is more chaviv, v'chein haragon b'vozna. When the brachas are the same, for example, you've got a cup of tea and you've got a piece of chocolate. So according to the Orach HaShulchan, the food should come first. According to Mishnah Berurah, they don't have any kedima. If you've got a bit of whiskey or a cup of tea or something, and you've got a bit of chocolate, let's say, which is shakol, so that's very interesting. So I think the minhag ha'olam is you do what's chaviv. According to Mishnah Berurah, there's no chavivas there's no chashivas over achila and shtia. The Orach HaShulchan says achila comes first, but according to the Kaf HaChaim and others, you do what's more chaviv for you. If you want the cup of tea first and then you want the chocolate, that would be okay. Okay, but that's hilchas that not to drink during the meal, etc. But if let's say you're just having a cup of whether we know like this nowadays, there's also a separate discussion. But if you've got to have a cup of tea and a piece of chocolate, so according to Mishnah Berurah, whichever one you want. According to Orach HaShulchan, really should have the chocolate first. But the Kaf HaChaim says if it's more chaviv for you to have the drink, then that would be okay.
So basically, whatever you do, you're okay.
Well, yeah. With regard to achila and shtia, yeah. Okay.